Welcome to the Pink Door Podcast. We are back, and today we are digging into something that seems simple, but boy, it gets complicated fast. We are heading to the South Shore.
Yep.
We're putting Hingham, Massachusetts under a microscope. Specifically, what on earth happened in their real estate market for January 2026?
It's a really fascinating time to be looking at Hingham. I mean, usually when you talk about January in New England real estate, everyone just assumes hibernation mode.
Exactly. You just picture the for sale signs buried in a snowbank.
Right.
You think everyone's waiting for spring. But looking at this stack of data we have, the sales reports, the inventory surveys, it looks like the market didn't get the memo it was supposed to be sleeping.
It definitely did not.
We have sales data and active listings and some inventory numbers that honestly seem to contradict each other at first glance.
Yeah.
It's like two different puzzles got mixed into one box.
They really do. There are some, mixed signals here that we really have to untangle. On one hand, you see certain things happening, but then the inventory is it's telling a completely different story.
So that's our mission today. We're going to parse through all this noise. We're going to look at what's sold versus what's for sale and try to answer that big question. Is the Hingham market hibernating, or is it actually, heating up under the surface?
And the answer, as it usually is that it really depends on who you are. If you're a seller, this data tells one story, a very, very exciting one. If you're a buyer,
A different story.
a very different and probably more stressful story.
Okay, let's unpack it. I want to start with the temperature of the market.
Yeah.
We've got this RPR survey in front of us. If you had to label Hingham right now, what is it?
Oh, it's unequivocally a seller's market. There's no gray area here at all. The data is practically shouting it.
How loud is it shouted? Because we hear seller's market thrown around all the time.
Yeah.
What makes this January so intense?
Well, let's just look at the most critical metric for that. Months of inventory. For January 2026, Hingham is sitting at 0.98 months.
0.98. That sounds shockingly low. But for someone listening who isn't a total real estate nerd, what does that actually mean in the real world?
Okay, think of it like a grocery store. If the delivery trucks just stopped coming today, no new houses listed, how long would it take for the shelves to be completely bare? In Hingham's housing market, the answer is less than 30 days.
Wow, that's wild.
If no new houses came on the market starting tomorrow, everything, absolutely everything currently for sale would be bought up in under a month.
So that puts it in perspective. If I'm a buyer, I'm basically walking down the aisle, there's one house left, and there are three other people staring at it.
Precisely. And to give you some context, a balanced market, where neither side has the upper hand, that's usually 4 to 6 months of inventory. We're not even at 1. We are deep, deep in seller territory.
And I'm guessing that scarcity does exactly what we think it does to prices.
It does. We see it right here in the sold-to-list ratio. For January, that number came in at 100.3%.
100.3%. So sellers aren't just getting what they asked for, they're getting a little bonus on top.
Exactly. It means buyers are not finding bargains. They aren't negotiating these huge discounts just because it's winter. Even in January, buyers are in competitive situations, bidding over the asking price just to get a home.
That's the part that would stress me out. You do all your math, you figure out your budget, and then you realize the price on the sign isn't the price, it's just the starting gun.
It's the opening bid. And when that ratio is over 100%, it's a clear signal that the pressure is all on the buyer.
Okay, so shelves are empty, people are overpaying. Let's look at what actually sold. I'm looking at the Jan Solds report here.
So in terms of volume, we saw 15 single-family homes sell in January.
15 homes. That feels like a pretty decent number for the middle of winter. But what really jumped out at me was the median sale price. We're talking $1,399,000.
Just shy of $1.4 million. It's a healthy number for sure, but you have to remember a median hides the extremes. And in Hingham, the extremes are where the story is.
Oh, absolutely. Here's where it gets interesting. I was looking through the list of those 15 homes, and the range is just massive. On one end, you have what I guess is the entry level now, 50 Volusia Road.
Right, 50 Volusia, little bungalow.
Yeah, bungalow. It listed for $525,000, and it sold for $490,000. That's the entry point.
That sale price, $490K, that's really significant. Finding a single-family home in Hingham under $500,000 is almost a unicorn at this point.
And notice it sold under its list price.
Exactly. That suggests it might have needed some work, or maybe it was a very specific property that didn't have broad appeal. It shows that even in a hot market, the product has to be right.
Okay, and then you whip your head all the way to the other end of the spectrum, and you see 41 George Washington Boulevard.
The top of the market for January, for sure.
This thing sold for $3,175,000.
Mm-hmm.
It's a huge colonial right on the water. So we have a spread from, what, 490K to over 3.1 million in the same month.
And that variety is what makes Hingham so unique. But let's look at how the buyers acted on those. You mentioned the average sold to list was over 100%, but that doesn't mean every house goes over.
Right. 41 George Washington actually sold a bit under its list price.
Which is pretty typical for that ultra high end.
But then I saw 36 Myers Farm Road. This felt like the battleground.
Myers Farm is the perfect example of that competitive heat we were talking about. That's the sweet spot.
It's a colonial listed at $1.899 million. And it sold for exactly $2 million.
That's the story of the market in one sale. That $1.5 to $2 million range, that's where the fiercest competition is. You have a nice move-in ready home like that. The swarm happens.
It just proves that if you have that kind of house, the buyers are there and they are aggressive. They push that price up over $100,000.
Absolutely. But then, on the flip side, look at 173 Main Street.
I saw that one too. A big shingle-style home. It was listed for almost $2.7 million, but sold for $2.485 million.
And that's the classic high-end scenario. When you get above $2.5 million, the pool of buyers just shrinks dramatically. You don't get the same bidding wars. The air gets a little thinner up there.
So the seller's market label is really most aggressive in that middle tier.
Precisely. The middle is on fire. The top is smoldering. It's moving, but sellers have to be a little more realistic on price.
Speaking of moving, how fast are these homes selling?
The median days on market, or DOM, for the homes that sold was 64 days.
64 days. So things aren't flying off the shelf in 24 hours.
No, and that's pretty typical for winter. It tells us the market is steady, but it's not frantic. It takes time to get a deal done. For midwinter, 64 days is a really respectable pace. The gears are turning.
Okay, so that's what's sold. That's the history. But now I want to look at what's out there right now. This is where I had my big aha moment.
The disconnect.
The disconnect is huge. We just said the median price of what sold was about $1.4 million. So you'd think the average house for sale would be somewhere around there, right?
You'd think so. Logic would say that.
But the median active list price for January is $2,849,500.
It's a staggering gap. You have a market where buyers are buying homes around $1.4 million, but the inventory that's actually sitting there for you to look at is priced at nearly $3 million.
That is almost double what is going on.
It's an inventory skew.
Yeah.
And it perfectly explains why buyers are so frustrated.
Yeah.
The affordable inventory, and I use that word very loosely for Hingham.
Right.
The homes under $1.5 million, they get listed and they sell immediately. They don't stay active long enough to affect the median.
Like invisible inventory.
Exactly, gone in a flash. So what's left on the shelf at the end of the month? The big luxury homes, the brand new construction, the stuff that naturally takes a lot longer to sell.
So if I'm a buyer with a budget of, say, $1.5 million, which is a lot of money, I'm looking at the active listings and I'm seeing basically nothing for me.
Very little. You're basically waiting for a notification to pop up on your phone, and you have to sprint to the open house. Meanwhile, if you have a $3 million budget, you have choices. You can browse.
Let's talk about those choices. The new listings that hit in January. I mean, my jaw hit the floor. There were only about 10, but some of them are monsters.
The luxury sector is definitely restocking its shelves.
We have to talk about 112 Martin's Lane.
You can't miss that one.
It just listed for $6,100,000. It's brand new, over 7,600 square feet. $6 million.
That property sets a very, very high anchor for the whole market. Martin's Lane is an exclusive area, and a price tag like that really sends a message.
And it wasn't the only one. There was a townhouse at 2 Black Rock Drive listed for basically $4 million.
Black Rock is a different animal. It's a whole luxury lifestyle community with the golf course and everything. But again, look at that price point, $4 million.
Right.
And then 1 Gardner Terrace at $3.5 million.
So if you're that person looking for the median house, that $1.4 million colonial, these new listings are just taunting you.
They are. The available inventory right now is heavily, heavily skewed towards the top 10%. The middle of the market is just hollowed out.
That has to be so frustrating. Okay, so let's look at the pipeline. What's currently under agreement? This should tell us what February might look like.
We have about 10 to 12 properties marked as pending. And interestingly, the high-end stuff is moving. It's just moving slowly.
I saw that. There's another Black Rock property, 86 Black Rock, listed at $5.1 million that's pending.
And 17 Page Street, listed at just under $5 million. So people are writing $5 million checks. But look at the days on market for those.
I'm looking, wow. over 200 days for some of them?
That's the trade-off. Yes, you can sell a $5 million house in Hingham, but you have to be prepared to wait 6 or 7 months for that one right buyer to come along.
So the luxury stuff moves, it just needs a really long runway. Now, I want to ask about something small I noticed in the report, something that's usually overlooked, the distressed properties.
Ah, yeah, the off-market public record section.
Exactly. The report lists 4 of them. 49 Colonial Road, 17 Michael Road. What does this tiny detail tell you?
It's a subtle but important indicator. Distressed usually means pre-foreclosure, maybe an estate that's stuck in probate. For an investor or someone looking for a real value play, these are the addresses you watch.
Right, because everything else is selling over asking, or it costs $4 million.
Precisely. In a market this tight, these distressed properties represent potential future inventory. They might come to market later as a flip or a teardown. It's really the only place you might find a deal.
The fixer-upper potential. Good to know it's there, even if it's just a tiny pocket.
Always. Even in a town like Hingham, life happens.
So let's wrap this up. What does this all mean? If we synthesize this for someone trying to make sense of Hingham in January 2026, what's the takeaway?
I'd call it a polarized market. It is truly a tale of 2 different markets operating in the same zip code.
Break that down.
Okay, if you're a seller and you have a home in that sweet spot, that $1 to $2 million range, you are sitting on a gold mine. There is almost no competition for you. It's a fantastic time to list.
And for the buyers.
It's tough. I won't sugarcoat it. You are paying over asking. That 100.3% figure is real. And unless your budget is over $2.5 million, your choices are incredibly limited. You're basically fighting for scraps.
So patience and preparation are the only tools a buyer really has.
Absolutely. You have to be ready to strike the moment something lists.
Okay, here's a final thought I want to leave everyone with. I was looking at the month-over-month change in the median list price. It jumped 24%.
That's a massive spike.
It is. Does that mean my house just gained 24% in value in a month?
Probably not. It's more a reflection of the mix of homes. You add a $6 million home and a $4 million home to a small inventory, and it just yanks the average way up.
But it does something to the psychology of the market, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. It psychologically resets expectations. When buyers start seeing $3 million as the new normal for a listing, suddenly $1.5 million starts to feel cheap by comparison. It recalibrates what expensive means.
And that's a dangerous game.
It is. So the big question for the next few months is this a permanent reset in price expectations for Hingham, or is this just a temporary backlog of luxury homes waiting for spring? That's what we need to watch.
Well, we will certainly be watching. This market is definitely not hibernating.
Not at all. It's just very, very top-heavy right now.
If you have any questions about this episode, or if you are thinking about buying or selling a house anywhere on Boston's South Shore from Southie to Sagamore, give Jim Aldred a call. He would love to speak with you. Jim believes that people in transition feel anxious about buying or selling a home, and he provides them with the guidance and security to help your family move on smoothly. Thanks for listening, and catch you on the next episode of the Pink Door Podcast.